Welcome to the Land, your bet sports betting show. Game 7, baby. Clippers and Nuggets back in Denver. Going to be taking a look at everything you need to know, including some Game 7 stats and the career stats for a couple guys that are important on both sides. How have they performed in Game 7s? Want to take a look at that stuff. Some matchup things as well. Nick Batum getting more minutes in Game 6. We got to look at what that means for Game 7. So we're going to get into everything we've got here. So make sure to go ahead and give this video a like. Let's get right into it. Like I said, I want to just get right into some Game 7 stuff here because we've got a decent sample size for a few of these key guys, 2 on each side that I'm going to look at, starting with Jokic. Game 7, 3-2 for him in his career. 26 points per game. This is 16.6 boards, 7.2 dimes per game for Jokic when he's doing this stuff. Like last season, just want to point back to that. They played Minnesota. They got trounced. They got walloped by Minnesota in Game 7 last year, and he still had 34 and like 9. He had 60 PRA in that game. It was like 34, 19 boards, and then however many assists, like 9 of them. So he definitely tends to assist slightly less. You see 26 points. That's about what you should expect from him. That's around where his prop line is at in this one. So we're going to see probably vintage Game 7 Jokic, because I can't guarantee they're going to win like last season when they lost and he had a great game as well. But I think we're going to see him bring it in this one. I don't think we should be worried about that. His teammate, Jamal Murray, pretty good as well. 26 points, actually 0.2 points more per game in Game 7. Obviously the same record. These guys always play together. Boards 4, assists 4. This kind of tells me he's going to be taking a lot more shots. And I definitely have a look for him in this game that I'm going to go through with you guys. Going over to the Clippers, we've got James Harden starting out. I mean, you know, we all give him crap for being Game 7 James Harden disappearing and being Casper the Ghost. He's 3-3 in Game 7s, 21.3 points, 7 boards, and 7 assists and the 5.8 boards that he's looking at in this one. So I think for James Harden, I know we all want to just immediately fade him, but wasn't that long ago that he had some pretty decent looks in Game 7 when he was on the Nets anyway. They lost in OT and he disappeared after the first half, but he did get 40 PRA in that game, and that would have gotten him over on what his prop line is in this game. And lastly, we've got Kawhi. In Game 7s, 3-2 for Kawhi over his career, 24.4 points per game, 8 boards, 2.8 assists. Obviously, one of the most epic shots in any series history in a Game 7 when he hit that big shot over Embiid to send the Raptors there. I believe that was to go to the conference finals. Maybe it was the finals, but I think it was the conference finals. They ended up going to the finals, obviously. So what are we going to see from Kawhi? 24.4 points per game in these situations, but at the same time, his prop line is above this. So which Kawhi do you think is going to show up tonight? Looking at the game notes here, go ahead and give the video a like if you have not yet done so. Much appreciated, as we hope you're getting some stuff out of this to help you make your bets in Game 7. Let's just look quickly at some stuff from Game 6 here that's relevant. Like I said, Nick Batum, 35 minutes in this last game, and he started the second half. We'll take a look at what that means for matchups because he's going to be guarding Jamal Murray, or at least he did, I should say. It seems like when he comes in for Chris Dunn, he's going to be guarding Jamal Murray. More on that when we look at the exact matchups here in a second. The keys for Game 6 to me were that the Clippers outscored this Nuggets squad by 13 points when it came to points off of turnovers and the free throws, +7 on the free throws. Of course, some of that was in the sort of garbage time where they're icing the game there. Not even garbage time, just at the very end when they're icing the game because they get fouled and go to the free throw line. But they won by 6 and they had a 7-point disparity, +7. When it came to the free throw line, seems pretty important. So I don't think we're going to get a very tight whistle here. I think things are going to be allowed to play a lot. It'll be a loose one, and we'll see not as many free throws as other games, which was the case in Game 6. Not very many free throws for either team. In fact, Denver only had 9 attempts from the free throw line in that game. Now they're back at home. And the other thing that was interesting about that one, Jokic 40 PRA, Zubac 16 PRA. They beat the crap out of each other. I mean, that looks like Jokic dominated, but that is very low for him, right? Especially on the RA where he only had 15. And Zoo as well, but neither of these guys had double-digit boards. Zoo only had 10 points. Expecting both of them to come back a lot stronger here in Game 7. As always, going to be running through Props Madness here on the show, the #1 sports betting platform here to find all things that you need for player props. You can use code LYB, get yourself 25% off your first month if you want to jump in and use this to find the bets that you're making as well. It also gets you 7 free days to trial it out, see if you like it before signing up for it. But let's dive right into what we're seeing here and start with Jamal Murray because we're still getting some plus money on these threes. And I mean, this isn't the end-all be-all, but I will say Jamal Murray, rhythm player, rhythm shooter. Let's look at the difference here when we look at his playoff stuff. There's 3 games that he's gone over, and there's 3 games he's gone under, and the coincidence here between them is home versus away. So in these home games, he's hit 5 per game. The attempts go up as well. If you look at 3-point attempts on this in this one, 9.7 threes that he's taking. So 10 threes that he's taking per game at home versus when you move this to on the road and you're looking at a lot fewer. Away here, we're talking about making 1.3 per game, and the 3-point attempts go down from 9.3, and in this case, they go down to 5 per game. And I don't want him to have to make 3 on 5 attempts, but I'm great for him to have to make 3 on, let's say, even 9 attempts, which is slightly less than he's been averaging at home, maybe even 8. And he and Jokic, it's game 7. It's these two going at, handling the ball the most. We'll see some Russ in there. Aaron Gordon playing off ball. We'll get some opportunities as well. Talk about him in a minute. But for me, I think Jamal's going to be out there. If you like the points, I'm not against it at all. I just can't get away from plus money with the attempts that I expect him to be taking in this game. Another over here for the Nuggets, we're looking at Ago. I got to go back to him. We took him for the PR in the last game. It's still at 19.5. So if you can still get 19.5, I like that as the bet for Aaron Gordon. If you can only get 20.5, even money or so on DraftKings, I'm still good with that. I do have him at about 24 PR once again, if he plays the same amount of minutes. In this last game, he had 24 PR, 41 minutes, right? That was an away game. Also a guy who plays really well at home. In this series, opened up with 33 PR. It was an OT game, saw 46 minutes, but he's going to play another 40 plus, right? He rarely has he seen less than 40, unless there was a blowout or what have you. He didn't play much in the fourth of game 5. But yeah, now we're talking about game 7, all hands on deck. I think points and rebounds are a good look. I'm also going to be looking to play some of the sort of little parlay with him, maybe 15 and 5, that type of thing for maybe plus 200 or so for Ago in this one. The key here too, we talked about this in the last time we talked about it. If you look at the playoffs here, rebound chances to start, right, in terms of why we like boards so much. If we look at those here, he's at 11.8 per game in this series, which is 4 more than he averaged during the regular season. 7.8 rebound chances. He's guarding Kawhi, which might seem like a bad opportunity to get boards, but for him, he's guarding Kawhi, who's crashing the offensive boards. Kawhi had 6 offensive rebound chances in this last game, 4 offensive rebounds. So if Kawhi's going for the offensive boards, that tells me Ago has to be going for the defensive boards. Might need to do a little bit better job, but he also has the option of getting offensive boards because we know that James Harden is guarding him. So for a lot of the time, sometimes James Harden is on Jokic, actually, when they're running some zone and he becomes the primary defender on Jokic. But when they're in man, there's most of the time we've seen James Harden guarding him. We'll get some Kawhi as well. So maybe the offensive boards aren't there quite as much, but he still had 13 rebound chances in this last game in his 41 minutes. I think we expect another 12 rebound chances from him. So for plus money, you got to like him to get 50% of those for 5.5, or dumb that down. Like I said, points and rebounds, probably a lot better than just the boards. Just put it all together however you like. I think Aaron Gordon is good for 15 and 5. Going back to CB, tried to get a Christian Brown parlay in the last game for the VIP folks, and it's really predicated on the assists. You can still get under 2.5 assists for him. It's minus 145. If you just want to play all straights, I like under 2.5 assists for him by itself. I'll probably also add it to maybe say under 2.5 assists parlayed with the money line for the Nuggets, because I do think they're going to win this game. If you parlay those two together, that's what we call negative correlation. You get Christian Brown doing something bad, right? Under 2.5 assists means you don't think he's going to do well, but you think his team is going to win. That's negatively correlated, negatively related to each other, because if you think CB is going to do poorly, then you would normally think that maybe his team is going to do poorly. But if you take his team to win in combination with him to go under on his assists, you're going to get closer to like 2-1 on your money. You're going to get some pretty good odds back as opposed to some other types of parlays that are not negatively correlated. So I like going under on the assists. If you want to go 10 plus points for him, you can. The thing is, even when he had 14 in this last game, he only took 7 shots. So I don't like the volume and the overall involvement for Christian Brown. At home, though, you do expect role players to do a little bit better. So we'll see on the points, but I would rather just take the assists by themselves. And then if I want to parlay that, add it to the money line for the Nuggets. Similar look for a guy like Michael Porter Jr. We saw in this last game, PRA was a really good under. I think there's still a couple 17.5s hanging around if you wanted to go under on all of it. But you saw in this last game, he only played 24 minutes. I think that's a big part of this handicap here is like take under on him because we don't know how healthy he is. He couldn't even get up for the boards. And that's really my favorite under. Again, if you just want to play a straight, you don't want to play a combo prop like points, rebounds, and assists, or you don't want to play a parlay of any kind, you just want Michael Porter Jr. under on the rebounds, because that is my favorite one. That's where I'd be going. Also, rebounds and assists, not as widely available, but love that maybe as much as anything. Hard for me to give it out. Look, it's on 4 books now as I'm talking about it. So love this as well. I really like under rebounds and assists more than points is really what I'm saying. So if you can get rebounds and assists combined, I think that's a great under. To tell you a little bit what I mean here, look at this series, potential assists per game. We're talking about 1.5. And the minutes that he's seeing in this series are at 32.8. On the season, he's like a minute more, but his potential assists down from 3 to 1.5. He's really only capable of doing one thing in this series with how good the defense is from the Clippers: catch and shoot. If he's not doing that, he really ain't doing much. Even on the rebound chances, when you look at those in this series, we're talking about 9.8, down from 11.6 on the season. Also not really getting involved in those, as we've seen, partly because of matchup stuff, guarding some Norm Powell, right? That definitely draws him out. But I think we have so many ways for him to go under that any way you want to combine this stuff, RA might be my favorite. I'm good with PRA. The only thing that would scare you about the points under is if he gets randomly hot from 3. But even then, right, we only saw him take 5 shots in this last game. So love unders in this one for MPJ. So obviously, I don't really love very much for the Clippers, and it clearly shows that I like the Nuggets to win in this game. One thing I wanted to show you was Norm. In these playoffs, what's wild is how bad he is on the road. First 2 games, right, in the playoffs, he scored 12 and 13, right? Then he goes back home, puts up 20 and 22. Then he goes back to Denver, he scores 12. Then he goes back home and he scores 24. So even though he's coming off a 24-point game, the books have his stuff at 16.5 points. They clearly believe in these home road splits for Norm Powell in the playoffs. I'm kind of tending to agree with them. I'm really just staying away from pretty much everybody on the Clippers. I think you get some value on guys like Nick Batum, who are likely going to get a few more minutes in this one. And if he's playing, 30 minutes like he did in this last game, I think PRA is the look for him. He's going to get involved in the rebounds and the assists. And if he's getting, like we think he will, get about 30 plus minutes in this game, this is the only guy I really like for the Clippers to go over if that's what you're interested in. Let's just give him a filter real quick where we talk about his minutes and say we give him 28 as his floor in this game because we know he's such an important role player. Now we're talking about 14.4 PRA per game. So that, like I said, still not a huge advantage. Guys like him and maybe Bogey, because I think both of them are going to be needed on offense, and that's why Chris Dunn doesn't even have props up in this one. That's the only way I'm going. Even Kawhi, I talked about this at the beginning. I know I'm all over the place, but I'm just trying to speed through these guys on the Clippers because I'm not betting on any of them. For Kawhi, right, if you look at 25.5, I mean, dude, I showed you 24.4 per game in game 7s. That doesn't help you much. If you look at him in the minutes he's going to play tonight, where he's going to play, let's say, 40 plus minutes, he's still at 26 points per game, over in half the games, under in half the games, including in this series where he's played that amount of minutes twice and he has not gone over. And one of them was in OT. This just doesn't, it feels like we're all reaching and waiting for playoff Kawhi to come back and be the dominant force he was in Toronto. I don't know that we're going to, even when he, 2 years ago with the Clippers, he was dominant, averaged like 31 per game in 2 games before he got hurt. Now he's back. He's definitely different after however many knee surgeries he's had. I don't know. I could get a bet down on Kawhi overs. All right, y'all, that's all the time we have for this one. Saturday, Game 7. Hope you guys are enjoying it. Got Dubs and Rockets on right now. Hoping to get some of these bets down. Looking pretty good on a couple of them. So until I see y'all next, happy betting.